Hi guys, so today we're going to make some lovely bread rolls, as you can see here. But as always, we're going to start by washing our hands. Really important, we give them a good wash and dry. And as you can see, I've also got a lovely clean apron on here, and that's to protect us from our food and to protect the food from us, because we've got a lot of germs on us. So once we've done that, give your hands a nice dry. We're going to come back over here and we're going to look through our ingredients. So as you can see here, we've got some flour, which will be our first ingredient. We've got some yeast. We've got some sugar. We also have some lovely garlic, which we're going to put in to make a nice garlicky bread. Some poppy seeds that we're going to pop on at the very end. That's some of our yeast there as well. We've got some oil, and that's going to give it a nice glossy glow at the end. And we've also got some lovely fresh herbs, as you can see, some chives, some basil, and we've got some cheese as well. This is the equipment that we would need. We would need a teaspoon, a dessert spoon, a garlic crusher if you're adding garlic. We've got a lovely chopping board here as well, and a grater for our cheese. So I'm just going to move these out of the way because we don't need them at the moment. And I'm going to start to build our bread. So I would normally take about half of the bowl of strong flour, which is about 5 heaped dessert spoons. And that's what I mean by heaped. Very important that we know our spoons and our quantities. I'm then going to get a level teaspoon of yeast. And I'm going to add that in there. And once I've added the yeast, I'm then going to add a level teaspoon of sugar. Doesn't really matter what order you get it in, but it's very important that we add both of those to our mixture. And one thing I forgot to mention is I've got some lovely warm water here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of that together so that we can't see it anymore. And then I'm going to add some of the ingredients. So I love garlic, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of very strong smelly garlic, which is lovely. I'm going to add some mixed herbs, which will give it a lovely color and also a lovely flavor. And also, because I love cheese, I'm going to add some Parmesan that we've got here. You could do this, or you could add these ingredients once we've made the dough, but I've added it before we have made the dough itself. And one other ingredient I forgot to mention was our black olives. So I'm going to add some of those as well. And like I said, you don't have to add this now. You could add it once we've made our dough. So once we've got all of our ingredients in, we're going to make a well in the middle of our bowl. And I'm going to pour in some water. I can't tell you how much water I'm going to put in because you might have different quantities. So we're going to have to work out how much water we add by the consistency of our dough. So at the moment, this is far too dry. And if it's too dry, then I add a little bit more warm water. And if it was a bit too wet or a bit too porridgey, then I can add some more flour. So what we're looking for is a consistency where all of our ingredients come together as one and forms what we like to call a lollipop of dough. And thankfully today's quite a nice warm day, so it's a good day to make bread. Bread likes to be warm, unlike pastry, which likes to be cold. And what I'm looking for, like I said, is a lovely clean bowl. Watch how my bowl gets nice and clean, and a lollipop of dough. Look, you can see all my ingredients have started to come together. Almost all of the bits in the bowl have come together. And look, this is what I'm looking for, where it clings onto the spoon, just there. So once I've done that, I'm gonna come out of the bowl. I'm gonna give it one last mix. I'm gonna come out and I'm going to add a little bit of flour onto the surface that I'm going to knead on. And the trick is when we knead is that we use our palms. We don't use our fingers. You can already see I've used my fingers a bit and they're sticky. So a lovely trick we do is we dip our palms into some flour. We can also use our knuckles. So I'm going to show you both. And we press it down. We press down and then we fold back up. We press down, or you can give it a punch. Depends how you prefer it, and we fold back up. And the more we do this, the better it's going to taste. And what we're doing here is we are working the gluten. We're stretching the gluten inside our dough. And that's gonna make it taste really, really nice and delicious. So I'm gonna work this for just a minute or two, but if you're at home, I advise that you do it for as long as possible, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, until we have a nice sticky dough. We don't want it to be too dry. It tastes much better if it's a little bit more sticky than dry. And a great little way of testing if our dough is the right level of knead, or it's been kneaded enough, I should say, is we get it into a little ball like this and we press it down, and look, it's got a bit of a spring to it. But I'm just gonna give it a little bit more of a knead because I want it to taste delicious. And after I've kneaded it for a little bit, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll it back up into a ball. I'm going to then separate it into smaller quantities. And you can make it into as many as you like, but the key is to have them the right size, because they're gonna bake off together, and if one's bigger than the other, then one might not cook as quickly. So yeah, this one, as you can see, is a little bit smaller than here, so I'm just gonna take a little bit from there and try and get them as even as possible. I think they're looking pretty even to me. And the next part is I'm going to get a piece of baking paper. I'm gonna pop them on there. And I am going to get my pastry brush and my olive oil. And all I'm gonna do is just paint a little bit, and that's a big word. We don't want to soak it in oil. This is just gonna give it a lovely glossy look at the end, and it's gonna give it a lovely finish. And after I've done that, I'm also gonna get some poppy seeds, once again, for a bit of decoration, make it look nice and pretty. You could get some cheese on top, some mozzarella or some cheddar, and that will give it a lovely golden brown look. And there you have it. And they'll roughly take 10 to 15 minutes. It really depends on how big your balls of dough are. But I put them in the oven at about 220 for 10 minutes, and then they will come out like that. Enjoy.